Hello there, friend. I'm Shaun McLaren, and today I'm trying out a Genesis Wave deck with the new card, Growing Rights of Itlimoc. Itlimoc. Am I saying that right? Itlimoc. So, Growing Rights of Itlimoc flips into basically Gaea's Cradle. If you have 4 creatures at the beginning of your end step. So we are going to try and flip the Growing Rights of Itlimoc and then have a lot of mana and then cast a big Genesis Wave. And if we do that with like Voyaging Satyr, untapping our Gaea's Cradle of the Sun is what it's called, then we'll have a lot of mana and a gigantic Genesis Wave. And if that happens, Itlimoc won't be the only thing that's growing, if you know what I mean. So will our board state. So yeah, that's what we're trying to do. This card probably isn't good enough. That's my expectation, but we're gonna try it out anyways. So the rest of the deck is, you've probably seen me play Mono Green Devotion before, why wouldn't you have? So we have some ramp in Arbor Elf, Birds of Paradise, Utopia Sprawl as our one drops that ramp us a bunch, and also have Voyaging Satyr, which untaps any land. So you can untap a land with Utopia Sprawl, you can untap Nykthos to add a lot of mana, or you can, of course, untap your Gaea's Cradle, Itlimoc, Cradle of the Sun, if you get to that point, which is all pretty good. Let's go over the mana base quickly as well, because we have Kalani Gardens, which are mostly to flip Growing Rights of Itlimoc. Kalani Garden is not a card you usually see in the deck. It's mostly just to generate plants for Itlimoc. Can find it off of Primeval Titan though, so kind of a useful utility land, but can easily screw up your draw if you have a tapped Kalani Garden turn 1 when you would rather have a forest. You also can't like enchant it Utopia Sprawl on a Kalani Garden, which could be relevant. Rest of the deck is some other green cards. We have some Elvish Visionaries and Carving Caryatids to increase our devotion count for Nykthos and just draw some cards. Find our big good stuff or some lands in the early game if we're lacking those. Courser, not usually a card you see 4 of in the main deck, but I like it with Genesis Wave, because you can do a really big Genesis Wave and hit Courser, or already have Courser, and all the lands you hit off Genesis Wave will gain you a bunch of life from Courser. So, and Courser's just a great card, let's be honest. Courser's amazing. Courser of Kruphix is an amazing card. All these locations like Itlimoc, Kruphix, all these weird places. So yeah, we have Garruk to untap lands as well, or give us an overrun effect if we have a bunch of guys. Nice to have plants as well for overrun effects. And Primeval Titan, of course, is an amazing card to ramp into. Also good with Courser, since you gain life off the Primeval lands. And yeah, Genesis Wave, which pretty much puts every card in our deck onto the battlefield if X is 6 or larger. Everything except Genesis Wave. So yeah, that's pretty good. That's some value. Alright, sideboard, we have just a random assortment of some green cards as well as a bit of a red splash. Nature's Claim for artifacts and enchantments. Super efficient and can also target our own stuff, although we don't have that much stuff to target. Defense Grid against counters, counter decks. If we play against mana leaks and that sort of thing, we want Defense Grid. Scavenging Ooze, good against graveyard decks and also life gain, just a versatile, powerful card. Ancient Grudge. Ancient Grudge for obviously the artifact decks, Affinity, Lantern, that sort of thing. Deathgore Scavenger, mostly just trying it out because it's a new card. Kind of almost very similar to Scavenging Ooze. Probably not as good, but we'll give it a try. Blood Moon. Don't really have any good ways to interact with a lot of decks other than just casting our stuff, so having Blood Moon to try and turn off their lands is certainly a way to interact with some decks. Dismember for a bit of creature interaction. Pelucranos for when we have a bunch of mana playing against creature decks. Could just eat them with Pelucranos if we have enough mana. Creeping Corrosion, great against Affinity and Lantern, of course. And Craterhoof is sort of, if we do play against a combo deck, we want to be able to kill them faster. Generally, if you're doing a big enough Genesis Wave, you should be able to win without Craterhoof. You just untap and then kill them, and you gain a bunch of life off Courser. But Craterhoof is certainly really good if you're looking to kill your opponent faster. So yeah, that's the deck. So let's try it out and see how it does.